By 2004, Grand Theft Auto had become Rockstar's flagship franchise. GTA 1 introduced the series' signature open-world crime sandbox, GTA 2 innovated a gang respect system, GTA 3 standardized the modern third-person perspective and brought in cinematic cutscenes, and Vice City improved on everything previously offered. For their next entry, Rockstar Games and developer Rockstar North wanted to build on everything that came before it, expanding the sandbox to not just a city, but an entire state, while pushing consoles to their limits. That game was Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. My name is OneHip, and thanks for clicking on this video. While I didn't own the game at the time of its release, I did enjoy playing it with some of my high school friends. I remember being in awe of the size of the map and everything that you could do in it. I bought the classic PS2 version as another one of my pandemic purchases, along with GTA 3 and Vice City. For gameplay footage, I played the game in its original 4:3 aspect ratio on my PS2 emulator, upscaled to 4K. And in this video, I'll explore San Andreas' background, controversy, gameplay, systems, visuals, soundtrack, and legacy, to show the impact the game had on future GTA titles, as well as open-world video games as a whole. Here's my retrospective of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Let's go.
Oh shit, here we go again.
San Andreas' development began in October 2002, with a $10 million budget and an initial 50-person team at Rockstar North, before expanding to 75 after the release of Manhunt. They were given 2 years to develop the game, compared to just 1 year for Vice City. This gave the team more time to experiment with features from earlier titles, while also trying out new mechanics and systems. San Andreas becoming Rockstar North's main focus also affected the development of The Warriors, which was delayed from 2004 to 2005 due to resources being reallocated to the former. The game was originally planned to feature 3 separate maps connected by public transit, but it soon evolved into what it eventually became. One continuous world with 3 cities, separated by countryside and desert. Photography and video were captured across the real-life inspirations for its fictional locations: Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. And consultation with LA cultural figures, including DJ Pooh, helped shape the game's depiction of 90s street culture. The game's mountain, forest, and desert areas were also inspired by Rockstar San Diego's Smuggler's Run franchise, which I've already covered in retrospectives on the channel. San Andreas would once again be built on Criterion Games' renderware engine, with graphical improvements and techniques like buildings loading in as the player approached them, eliminating the need for traditional loading screens. Despite Rockstar North's generous resources and extensive research, reports of 17-hour workdays emerged during development, with some staff stepping away from the project due to concerns about working conditions. One long-serving employee also quit, citing discomfort with the game's portrayal of African Americans, and feeling that it was more exploitative compared to earlier GTA titles. San Andreas was released on PlayStation 2 on October 26, 2004 in North America, with Windows and Xbox ports arriving on June 5, 2005, all to critical acclaim. It sold 4.5 million copies in its first week, and 27.5 million copies by 2011, making it one of the highest-selling games of all time. Mac OS X and mobile ports followed in the first half of the 2010s. An enhanced Xbox 360 release arrived in 2014 to celebrate the game's 10th anniversary, while a PlayStation 3 version was released over a year later. San Andreas was also included in 2021's Grand Theft Auto: The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. The game was praised for its larger open world, its protagonist CJ, the introduction of RPG-like elements, and improved graphics. Criticism, however, was directed at its unstable frame rate, texture pop-in, repetitive missions, long return times after mission failure, and combat targeting. Some critics also noted that San Andreas felt like less of a sandbox than GTA 3 and Vice City, with missions that sometimes limited player improvisation. San Andreas wasn't just bigger, it was Rockstar trying to build the most ambitious open-world game of its era, and that ambition came with consequences. Having already faced controversy in an era of video game moral panic with their last two M-rated entries, Rockstar Games' Dan Houser had gone on the record stating that the GTA series, and video games as a whole, were not made for children. San Andreas was billed as the final part of a trilogy, spurring Rockstar North to exceed expectations for their highly anticipated title, with the intent to include sexual content and nudity. Such inclusions were expected to earn an adults-only or AO rating from the ESRB, limiting the game's sales and target audience, and placing a financial burden on Rockstar Games. While I can't say exactly what content was planned to be added in, due to the risk of having this video flagged, disagreements emerged between the developer and publisher over its inclusion. Alterations were made between the two parties, but time was running out to have it removed entirely. The developers instead rewrote the code so that it'd be inaccessible to the player, despite still being present on the game disc. The hidden content would later appear on the M-rated Windows version via an optional patch, bypassing review from the ESRB, as the PlayStation 2 release had already been screened. 2 months after San Andreas' release, a team of modders uncovered several sexually explicit character animations in the PS2 version's files, after planning to make their own mods for the Windows version once released. The latter's official launch would begin to unravel Rockstar North's secrecy. The hidden minigame was soon unlocked, with a patch named after its euphemism, Hot Coffee, released online with over 1 million downloads in just a few weeks, a huge number for 2004. On the Windows release date, Houser himself discovered the minigame after browsing a GTA forum, while former Entertainment Software Association president Doug Lowenstein discovered it through a viral video covering the content. At that point, Rockstar Games had entered damage control. Politicians such as California State Senator Leyland Yee condemned the ESRB for not issuing an AO rating to San Andreas. US Senator Hillary Clinton petitioned an FTC-led investigation into the game's content, filing the Family Entertainment Protection Act in December 2005. The bill ultimately expired without action. In July of that same year, the House of Representatives voted to launch their own FTC investigation into Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar Games, with the former already being under investigation by the SEC regarding insider trading involving company founder and chairman Ryan Brandt. A settlement between the FTC, Take-Two, and Rockstar was reached almost a year later, requiring them to prominently disclose any content relevant to a game's rating. Despite not receiving fines, Take-Two incurred a $24 million loss from an earlier recall of the game. Also in July, the ESRB confirmed that all editions of San Andreas would receive an AO rating, resulting in chains like Walmart and Target removing the game from shelves. San Andreas was stripped of its MA15+ rating and banned in Australia, as there was no R18+ rating for games there at the time. Hot Coffee's code would be removed in subsequent versions of the game. Several lawsuits were filed against Rockstar and Take-Two in response to alleged false advertising and consumer deception, with San Andreas' original M rating, eventually all being consolidated into one case. A settlement was reached in January 2008, with the inclusion of customers who purchased the game before the re-rating being eligible for a refund of up to $35. The Hot Coffee controversy caused a ripple effect across the industry, with the ESRB reviewing their standards for submission and rating processes. Their now more rigorous approach affected other developers, with Bethesda's The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion being re-rated from teen to M due to more closely considered violence, as well as the potential for mods to allow topless female character models. Planned legislation under the Truth in Video Game Rating Act, which would require full game access instead of selected developer content to the ESRB before its final rating, expired without action. The controversy also caused Take-Two to cancel their upcoming drug trade real-time strategy game called Snow, due to increased political pressure. The minigame would even be referenced in GTA 4, with an in-game achievement called Warm Coffee, earned after Nico was invited into his date's home for a romantic encounter. Hot coffee may have dominated the headlines, but it wasn't what defined San Andreas. What defined it was Rockstar's ambition, a crime sandbox so packed with systems and possibilities that it still feels impossible for its era. So with that context in mind, let's move into San Andreas's gameplay and systems. GTA San Andreas is set in the year 1992. You play Carl Johnson, or CJ, who returns from Liberty City after his mother's murder. He reunites with his street gang, the Grove Street families, sister Kendall, and brother Sweet, the gang's leader, as well as his fellow gang members Ryder and Big Smoke. On his way home, he's pulled over by Officer Tenpenny, a corrupt police officer and gang task force leader, with whom he has a history. He takes CJ's cash and his fellow officers, Pulaski and Hernandez, put CJ in their car. Along the way, Tenpenny warns CJ not to leave town, while blackmailing him into doing tasks when told to do so. CJ is dropped off at Rolling Heights, a neighborhood controlled by rival gang, the Ballers. He utters his famous line before making his way to Grove Street, reuniting with his crew while evading a Baller's ambush. Throughout CJ's journey, he befriends gang leader Caesar, Kendall's partner, who helps CJ throughout the campaign, while also meeting several newly introduced and returning characters. Throughout the campaign, CJ overcomes betrayal and a gang civil war, discovers who was involved in his mother's murder, builds his own empire, and aims to make Grove Street families the most dominant gang in Los Santos. Out of the main three protagonists of the 3D era, CJ is the most fleshed out, with San Andreas' long but memorable campaign advancing his arc. While Claude may be considered mostly a vehicle to push GTA 3's plot forward, while Vice City's Tommy has a deeper backstory in comparison, CJ's arc ranges from being mocked and dismissed by his family and friends in Los Santos, to building his own empire in San Fierro, to becoming casino business partners with a triads leader in Las Venturas. Some story elements I found were inconsistent in parts, such as CJ being portrayed as someone to show sympathy towards, while he also carries out heinous acts, like burying a construction foreman alive in cement. Despite this, I loved seeing CJ become more confident as the plot unravelled, and witnessing him evolve from a street gang subordinate to a respected organised crime associate and businessman was extremely satisfying. At one point, CJ was even brave enough to mock Tenpenny to his face, instead of using his typical sarcastic responses, despite receiving a gut punch as retribution. While there were some more cinematic and often outlandish missions compared to earlier GTA games, San Andreas showed an element of maturity in its main story, which would be expanded upon considerably in GTA 4. San Andreas improves on existing mechanics and systems from earlier games, while introducing an abundance of new ones. Like those before him, CJ can walk, run, sprint, use various vehicles and weapons, and jump. He can now change viewing angles on the fly without having to stay still to turn in a first-person perspective, which I felt was an extremely welcome feature. He can also super sprint by repeatedly tapping X, as well as climb up and vault over obstacles, such as shipping containers and small walls respectively. I found that he wouldn't always latch onto an edge when I tried to climb up something at a certain angle, but this mechanic was generally pretty responsive, as well as being essential for completing certain missions. San Andreas also introduced swimming and diving to the series, which was well overdue in my opinion. CJ can wield numerous melee weapons, including knives, katanas, nightsticks, shovels, chainsaws, baseball bats, and of course, his own fists, with or without brass knuckles equipped. He can also learn new melee techniques at various gyms across San Andreas. Shooting weapons include various handguns, shotguns, SMGs, and assault rifles, in addition to sniper and medium-range rifles, a flamethrower, a rocket launcher, including a heat-seeking variant, and a minigun. He can also throw molotovs, grenades, and remote satchel charges, and can also equip night or thermal vision goggles to aid him in certain missions. A variety of consumables can be used to aid CJ in progressing with some missions, including a camera, spray can, fire extinguisher, and various gifts that can be given to in-game girlfriends, both of the romantic and naughty type. He can also receive calls on his cell phone that trigger missions and advance the story. He can take cover during a firefight by crouching behind objects, and side roll to dodge fire or go behind cover. A proper cover system would be introduced in GTA 4, but I appreciate these inclusions in San Andreas. The colour-coded target system from Manhunt is introduced to the series, with CJ's auto-aim icon glowing green, yellow or red to indicate his enemy's health level, with dark grey signalling that his target has expired. Using L2 or R2 instantly switches auto-aim targets. He can also manually aim to shoot different body parts, which was very unwieldy in the early game, but fantastic to use later on once CJ improved his weapon skills. As CJ uses a certain weapon, his skill level for it increases, with him eventually being able to dual wield weapons like pistols and SMGs. I unfortunately didn't get to this level in my initial playthrough. Like GTA 3 and Vice City, I stuck with mostly SMGs and assault rifles, as they could dispatch enemies pretty easily at medium range, while using scoped weapons like sniper rifles was a bit finicky with the controller. Auto-aim was unreliable at times, with CJ often aiming behind him towards an NPC or to no one when locking on, instead of towards his target. The wasted and busted systems from previous GTA games return, as well as a maximum 6-star wanted level from law enforcement after a certain point in the story. Another addition from Manhunt is CJ being able to stealth kill enemies using a knife from behind by holding R1 and pressing circle. He can also hide in the shadows to avoid enemy detection. Many of San Andreas' missions require CJ to sneak into areas and quietly take out guards without alerting the entire base, as CJ's health can deplete reasonably quickly when being shot at by numerous enemies. Health and armor tokens are no longer in free roam, but they're available during turf war sections, which I'll discuss shortly.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
CJ can also commandeer several land and sea vehicles, as expected from an early 2000s GTA title, with unique and insane stunt jumps and bike wheelies and stoppy rewards returning. The land vehicle fleet is expanded upon, with utility vehicles like tractors and harvesters, off-road vehicles like ATVs and buggies, and BMX and mountain bikes. I never once triggered a car alarm after stealing a vehicle, and I'm not sure if I got lucky or if the feature was removed. A notable addition is the expansion of flyable aircraft built on Vice City's helicopters, including crop dusters, commercial airliners, stunt planes, fighter jets, and even a jetpack and parachute being available for use. Many of them come in handy for quickly traversing San Andreas' map, which I'll explore further in the next chapter. Driving feels great, and boating has improved significantly. Flying aircraft was a bit awkward with certain planes at first, but as CJ improved this skill, it became extremely fun. Main missions are given to CJ by various new and returning characters in the game. While it took me a couple of tries to complete infamous missions like Wrong Side of the Tracks, I found the toughest missions were those that had a vehicle health level. I died regularly during most of them, resulting in me having to travel all the way back to the mission markers, sometimes for up to several minutes, just to try again. This also happened to me for some other missions, which were difficult despite being slightly easier overall compared to 3 and Vice City, and the game's significantly larger map makes it a chore to try a mission again if you fail. I also found timed missions to be much more generous than earlier games, with many having plenty of time to spare once I completed a timed section. Some missions reference earlier Rockstar titles, including the Manhunt-style stealth kills I mentioned earlier, a mission where you drive a buggy to collect a chopper-dropped package in the desert while evading police, like in Smuggler's Run, and a mission where you drive a harvester, literally called Body Harvest. Asset missions such as those for a San Fierro electronics store and car dealership can help CJ gain income from them. In Las Venturas, there's an optional heist campaign with several missions to complete in order to unlock the main heist, something which later titles like GTA 5 would expand on. Classic side missions such as Paramedic, Vigilante, Taxi, and Firefighter make a return, with Trucker, Freight Train, and Pimping added to the vehicle mission roster. New side missions include Burglar, Lowrider contests, club dance-offs, race tournaments, arcade games, gambling including horse betting and video poker, basketball, pool, triathlons called Beat the Cock, BMX challenges, and shooting range competitions. Asset missions such as valet parking, courier, and quarry missions round out this stacked list of things to do. CJ can also date certain characters and take them to various establishments, such as diners and bars, with a cutscene confirming if the date is happy or not. CJ then takes them home, and their relationship develops over time. One thing I love about this game is that while some activities may seem pointless to do at first glance, many of them improve one of CJ's skills. Most of them have purpose, which is incredible game design. There's also a local 2-player mode for free roam and rampage missions, which as far as I'm aware is the only one of its kind in the series. San Andreas introduces RPG-like elements to the series, some of which would carry over into GTA 5. CJ can increase his stamina and muscle, while decreasing his fat with physical activity in free roam or at the gym. He can also increase his respect by completing missions and taking over rival gangs' turf, improve his use of weapons with regular use, increase his lung capacity by staying underwater, and increase his sex appeal by wearing nicer clothes and driving nicer cars. Each increase results in stronger capabilities, like more melee damage with higher muscle, and longer sprint duration with higher stamina. Conversely, eating too much fast food can increase his fat level, thereby decreasing his stamina and muscle, while working out to the point of being a beefcake will max out his muscle, but decrease his sex appeal with some potential partners. These stats can be seen by holding down L1 while not in a vehicle. Other stats, such as driving, flying, bike, cycling, weapon and vehicle skills, as well as gambling, increase as CJ partakes in activities to improve these attributes, with all of them providing greater benefits. CJ can also attend driving, bike, and flight schools, and complete courses to improve these particular skills. It's hard to believe that so much content could be crammed into a single PS2 disc, and the game's content is plentiful, if not slightly overwhelming. What's also hard to believe is that they were able to include 3 cities and 2 connected open areas in the same game, with each one offering something visually unique. Thanks for still being here with me. I hope you're enjoying this one. If you want to see new content, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. Thanks for your support as always. And anyway, back to the video. San Andreas is a state inspired by California and Nevada, totaling 36 square kilometers or 14 square miles. It encompasses 3 main cities, Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas, separated by countryside and desert regions dotted with small towns and landmarks. And the paper map included with the game is massive, much like the ones our parents used to use on road trips. CJ's journey starts in Los Santos, before entering the countryside. He then moves to San Fierro, followed by the desert, and finally Las Venturas, mirroring the older GTA model of areas unlocking as the story progresses. Los Santos is inspired by real-world events, including the 1992 Los Angeles riots and that decade's crack epidemic, as well as films such as Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society. San Fierro draws influence from the 1968 film Bullet, Las Venturas takes influence from 1995's Casino, and the countryside features references to 1972's Deliverance. Many in-game landmarks are inspired by their real-world counterparts, including the Gantt Bridge, which references the Golden Gate Bridge, Vinewood for Hollywood, and the Sherman Dam for the Hoover Dam. You can view the in-game map in the options menu and mark waypoints. However, unlike later GTA games, there's no path on your minimap to guide you to it. The minimap itself can be a bit confusing at times when trying to find your desired location, but the waypoints are handy for destinations that are outside your minimap's scope. NPCs will verbally and sometimes physically react to CJ's actions, as well as between each other. Ballers will shoot you if you stay in their turf for too long, and some NPCs will fight back if you carjack their vehicles. Couples will hold hands while walking down the street. Recruited gang members will do drive-by shootings in cars you drive, as well as CJ himself. And after the endgame mission called Riot, some will steal items like TVs and walk down the street holding them. Despite these notable improvements, NPC behaviour can be unpredictable, with brawls breaking out often between several of them, and some screaming in panic and running away while nothing is happening. Traffic can also be unpredictable, with NPC drivers regularly swerving in front of you or turning at the last second, resulting in frequent mission failures and subsequent runbacks to the marker. San Andreas expands GTA's in-game economy significantly. Alongside staples like ammunition and pay and spray, CJ can buy food at pizza, chicken and burger joints to replenish his health, go to a barbershop, get tattoos, and visit the gym to increase his strength and stamina. Hidden weapons can also be found across the map and can also be unlocked during story progression. He can also buy soda from vending machines to replenish some health, and CJ can eat to restore health and manage his weight and energy levels. He can also select new clothes to buy at different stores and change them in his safe house's wardrobe, unlike in Vice City where they're set outfits. 8-ball bomb shops make a return, and he can play video games at bars, clubs, and convenience stores. He can also go to, certain clubs that appear in Vice City. CJ can also travel to each city's airport and travel to another unlocked city, complete with a cutscene showcasing his journey. CJ can use safe houses to save progress and purchase additional properties, while also being able to play video games at his Grove Street address. In Los Santos, CJ and his gang can take over rival turf by holding off waves of enemies, with about a third of its ownership being required to unlock the final mission, End of the Line. Gangs can also return to try and take back their turf, which CJ must defend. He can also recruit gang members for assistance, but I found them pretty useless, so I did most of the turf takeovers myself, and with the help of Sweet in a couple of endgame missions. He can also spray over rival gangs' tags to increase his respect level, which is the city's version of hidden packages, with 100 to find and spray over. In San Fierro, CJ can also use his camera to find and take snapshots across the city, with 50 spots to find. These can be found on the minimap once CJ focuses his camera. And in Las Venturas, he can find one of 50 horseshoes across the city, with its own perk for finding all of them. CJ can also find up to 50 oysters underwater when swimming in San Andreas. San Andreas' use of visual fog, a technical limitation for older consoles, makes San Andreas appear larger than it actually is. This also improves the game's atmosphere significantly, and while San Andreas' map may be considered small in the modern era, it still felt quite big traversing through it during my playthrough. The fog really shines when flying over the clouds, and it's quite remarkable being able to do this without any stuttering or other technical issues. And the game looked great, set at 4K on my emulator. Each city has a distinct visual tone, adding to their uniqueness. Weather effects such as shimmering heat, dense fog and rain, as well as sandstorms in the desert, add variety to this vast landmass. I did experience some texture pop-in for buildings, but these were expected, considering the game's technical ambitions. Character models are improved with better animations and more facial and body details, such as individual fingers, instead of those skin gloves seen in earlier games. Most cutscenes also feature facial animations during dialogue delivery. Some may view San Andreas' open world as too sparse, especially the rural areas, but an open world like this was unprecedented at the time. I'd go as far to say that the scope of San Andreas in 2004 is a technical marvel, and it's one that I would love to regularly return to post-story and explore further. The often long journeys across the map are aided significantly by the game's extensive soundtrack. San Andreas' soundtrack offers the most diverse range of genres in the series up to that point, including East and West Coast hip-hop and rap, new jack swing, pop, alternative rock, reggae, funk, house, country and western, and classic rock. Getting into a vehicle in a certain area will often have a suitable station playing by default, such as West Coast hip-hop station Radio Los Santos blasting tunes in Grove Street, or country and western on K-Rose when driving through the countryside, adding to each region's atmosphere.
Have you read Beowulf? I declare, those were the original cowboys.
My personal favourite stations were Radio Los Santos, alternative rock station Radio X, and KDST The Dust, offering classic rock, hosted by Tommy the Nightmare Smith, voiced by Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose. I also love that some of the older tracks are sampled in newer songs elsewhere on the soundtrack. For example, Express Yourself by Charles Wright and the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band on Master Sounds is sampled in NWA's Express Yourself on Radio Los Santos, and James Brown's The Payback, also on Master Sounds, is sampled in En Vogue's My Lovin' You're Never Gonna Get It on CSR 103.9. Like Vice City, there's too many excellent tracks to mention, but some standouts include Running Down a Dream by Tom Petty, A Horse with No Name by America, Nothing But a G-Thang by Dr. Dre featuring Snoop Dogg, It Was a Good Day by Ice Cube, Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine, and Lowrider by Wall. Custom radio stations were also available on the PC and later ports of the game. Talk radio returns in San Andreas, with an extensive lineup of programs across West Coast talk radio. Segments on topics like sport, gardening, entertainment, and travel ooze the franchise's trademark innuendo and satire. Fan favourites Laszlo Jones and Fernando Martinez return, alongside many new and eccentric hosts. Each station's content is interspersed with an expanded lineup of commercials, parodying trends of the era such as TV sitcoms, self-help gurus, lifestyle improvements, pump sports shoes, and anti-smoking campaigns. The Epsilon program, a fictional cult which appears across the series, makes its debut in the form of a radio commercial, alongside certain NPCs referencing it in the world.
The Epsilon program seeks out the convenient bits from every faith to create a religion that is uniquely American.
Older announcers will reminisce about better days, while younger ones lament about having to conform to modern values. Rockstar also made a wise move by casting a mix of newcomers and established names for San Andreas' story. CJ is voiced by young Melee, who made his acting debut in the game. Notable cast members include Samuel L. Jackson as Tenpenny, Chris Penn as Officer Pulaski, Peter Fonda as The Truth, Charlie Murphy as Jizzy, and David Cross as Zero. Frank Vincent and William Fichtner reprise their roles as Salvatore Leone and Ken Rosenberg, respectively. Melee does a great job as CJ for his first role, and Jackson plays Tenpenny almost too well, making him a memorable antagonist. The sounds of traffic and NPC chatter are excellent, though some of the gunfire and weapon sound effects felt a little weaker than earlier games. Whether it's the music, the talk shows, the news segments, or the performances from its cast, San Andreas' sound design is a huge part of what makes the state feel alive, and with that atmosphere in place, the game had left a lasting legacy. San Andreas didn't just raise the bar for Rockstar games, it helped redefine what an open-world game could be in the mid-2000s. It took the foundation laid by GTA 3 and Vice City, and pushed it into something that felt closer to a living role-playing sandbox, including 3 cities, 2 major wilderness regions, and a systems-driven world, where almost everything you do feeds back into CJ's progression. Even today, the most impressive part is how much of the game is built around player identity. CJ isn't just a character you drive from mission to mission. He's shaped by what you choose to engage with, like training stats, weapon skills, relationships, territory control, side activities, and an economy that turns the state into something you can actually live in. That RPG-like approach wasn't just a gimmick, rather it became one of the game's defining traits. And it's a big reason San Andreas still feels unique within the series. San Andreas also set expectations for scale and feature density that the industry spent years chasing. You can see its influence in the wider open world boom that followed, not just in map size, but in the idea that an open world should be a toolbox full of optional systems and ways to roleplay your character beyond the main plot. At the same time, it's impossible to talk about San Andreas' legacy without acknowledging its contradictions. It's a game with genuine ambition and cultural texture, but it was also built in an era where crunch was normalized, and it became the center of one of the most significant content rating controversies the medium has ever seen. Hot coffee didn't define the game, but it permanently shaped how publishers handle ratings and disclosure, and it's part of why the conversation around San Andreas has always been larger than just the missions. Within the series itself, San Andreas became a reference point. Its sense of scope and systems carried forward in different ways, whether that's the more grounded narrative direction and tone that GTA 4 leaned into, or the return to feature-rich spectacle and long-term progression that GTA 5 built on. Even when later entries refined mechanics, San Andreas remains the one that feels the most ideas-driven. And that's why it still holds up. Not because it's flawless, which it isn't, but because it swings so hard. It's messy in places, uneven in others, and sometimes feels like 3 games fighting for space on one disc. But that's also what makes it memorable. San Andreas is Rockstar's ambition in its rawest form, being a game that tries to be everything, and somehow ends up being one of the most iconic open-world experiences ever made. Thanks for watching. What are your memories of GTA San Andreas? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming content. If you're planning to grab your next PC game or bundle, check out my affiliate links for Fanatical and Green Man Gaming, at no extra cost to you. Thanks as always for your support. Thanks also to my current channel members on the screen. You too can become a member of this channel, or you can donate to my Ko-fi page. Links are in the description. My name is OneHip, and you have a good one. Bye!